Hey everybody, this project today is going to be based on a book called Mouse Count. Okay, so let me show you the book, and then I don't have the book here, so I'll leave a link in the description to a video where somebody can read it to you. Okay, so this is called Mouse Count by Ellen Stoll Walsh. Okay, and it looks like this. I usually do this at school, but I don't have it, but I thought we'd do it anyway. The illustrations for the book are pretty cool. They're collage, so she cuts out a lot of things, but when she does the little mice, she tears the paper so they have fuzzy edges. So we're going to use that idea um, for our project today. So what you're going to need is a blue piece of paper and then some other different colors of paper like gray and tan and brown and white. And then the snake in the book is blue, but depending on what materials you have, we're going to do it a couple different ways, and you can try that out. So let's get started. So the first part is making the jar. Okay, so if you've already listened to the book, then you know that the snake finds a jar and counts all these little mice into the jar. So my paper is 9 inches by 12 inches, but again, whatever size you have will work. And I'm using light blue, but you can make this work with white if you only have that. So first I'm going to draw a line across the bottom, and then I'm going to curve the edge up, okay, to make it round. Okay, I can make it perfectly square, but I don't really want it to look like that. Then I'm going to do a vertical line going up the side, okay. Then I'm going to curve in a little bit more, okay, and it's almost like a square, okay. So it really is pretty much the square. I'm just having curved edges instead of pointy edges, okay? And then we're going to make the top of the jar, okay? Like the little threads that you would screw the lid onto the jar. And so to do that, I'm gonna make something like a number 3, okay? And then I'm gonna make something on the other side like a backwards 3 or an E, okay? And then we'll go across here and connect those two things together. And that'll give us kind of the idea that we have those threads on the top there. If you wanted to put an extra one on there so it had 3, that would be okay too. But we'll go ahead and go with 2 for this example, okay? All right, so that's the first part, and then we're gonna make our mice. So keep that jar here to the side, and then take a piece of paper. So I've got these pieces of paper. These are 3x4 pieces of paper. I've got white, gray, tan, and brown. Okay, so this is a good way to practice your tearing. Okay, so what we're gonna do is make a mouse shape. So I want it kind of like an oval shape. Now, if you get kind of advanced, like the book, okay, you can make them in lots of different shapes. But let's start with just a basic oval shape right now, okay? And then we'll go and try some other things in a little bit, okay? So when I tear, I don't want to just try to rip the paper, but I want to keep my thumbs close together, and I want to just pull a little bit at a time, okay? So I'm going to keep my thumbs close together, and I'm just going to pull the paper apart, okay? I'm really picking up and lifting with one side and pushing down with the other side. And I got to keep my thumbs close together. If I try to do it like this and I let my thumbs come apart, I'm not able to control my tear. I might get lucky a little bit, okay? But this way, I can tear out whatever shape I want, okay? So that's gonna be my first mouse, okay? And we're just gonna repeat that. So if you want to, you can make like kind of a pointy side to the mouse and a rounder side so that you could put the face of the mouse on this pointy side, okay? Where the nose of the mouse is a little pointier, okay? But it just takes practice to tear like this. And so the first few that you do, may not be perfect, but spend some time on it, okay? And you can see that it gives a nice fuzzy edge to it, okay? Something that you can't get with a pair of scissors, okay? And so I'm gonna make this one like this, and I'll put the point here and make it a little more pointy. That may be too pointy for a mouse, but hey, we'll see what happens. So in the book, there's 10 mice. So I don't know how much paper you have or how much fun you're having tearing, okay? But you could tear a whole bunch of mice for your jar, okay? We could make it pointy here, and then we could try to make like little hands on the mice or something like that. But that's getting kind of advanced for the shapes that we want to do. But maybe some of you are thinking, hey, this is cool, Mr. Moose. I'm going to try tearing out some of these advanced paper tearing shapes, okay? Who knew that paper tearing could be so advanced, okay? All right, let me show you something else that's cool. Maybe you're kind of bored tearing out one mouse at a time, okay? If you get pretty good at this, though, then you could take two pieces of paper and stack them together. And if you're careful and you keep them pinched together, you can actually tear two pieces of paper at the same time. Get the feeling that if you really practiced, you could tear even more pieces of paper at the same time, okay? But maybe starting with two is enough, okay? Tearing all those pieces of paper at once might be kind of tricky. The only problem with this is that you get two mice that are pretty much exactly the same. They're like twins, so you don't get all the different shaped mice that way, okay? I'm going to tear out a few more because I'm actually going to try to make 10 mice for this project. So let me get them all torn and put into the jar like the snake, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I've got all my mice torn and ready to go. Let's get that stuff out of the way. Okay, now I actually think I have more than 10 here, but let's see how our jar goes. Now, remember in the book, the snake counts the mice into the jar. So we're going to sort of do the same idea. We're just going to fill the jar from the bottom first, okay? So just put a little glue on there, okay? I just put a dot of glue in the middle, and I start filling in the jar, okay? So I'll put a little glue on this mouse and put it here, and then I'll put a little glue on this mouse. And it's okay if they overlap each other, okay? Because they kind of all get stacked into the jar, okay? I try not to put the same colors on right next to each other. I'm gonna try to keep them so that they overlap a little bit differently, okay? So different colors will overlap, okay? So I don't want a mouse floating up here. I want it to kind of look somewhat realistic and that the mice will all sort of be stacked together. That one looks like it's kind of standing up, but hey, why not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do a few more. 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a little space right there. I don't know how that happened, but that's okay. Maybe some of those mice are strong enough to hold the other ones up, okay? So we've got those mice in there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little face to each mouse, okay? So the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna add a little triangle, and then I'm just gonna add eyes and whiskers to it. 1, 2, 3 whiskers. 1, 2, 3 whiskers. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, a little triangle and a little face to the mouse. Okay, it works. Okay, so anywhere in here, I'm just gonna add the little face for the mouse. So you could decide which side you want to be the face, okay? And if you have to, if you only glue down the middle, you can lift them up a little bit if you have to, but I'd kind of like to just find a place where each mouse's face can be showing a little bit. Okay, and if you want to, okay, you could flip it this way too. Have this mouse be facing upwards like that, okay? Still kind of wet, the glue. I wanted this guy to have his little pointy face right here, so I think I'm gonna do this. There we go, okay? You could always draw the faces on the mouse before you glued them down, but then sometimes they end up getting hidden underneath. So sometimes it's better to kind of glue them down where you think they're gonna be and then add the little faces at the end, okay? So then we're gonna add the tails and the ears to the mouse. So you'll need like some pink paper for that. So let's get that going. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to do this, okay? So you can draw the little circles for the ears if you want to, okay? And you can make them little half circles instead of full circles, but I'll show you the difference here in a little bit. So I'm just gonna cut out this circle shape, and they don't have to be perfect circles, and you'll figure out what size you want them to be. So one trick is to squeeze your scissors and turn the paper around, okay? And then you can get that onto there, okay? I know it's a little hard to see on the screen, okay? On the white for sure, so we'll do a few more, okay? So you're gonna get two little circles, okay? And those are gonna be the ears for your mouse. Now, when you glue those on, there's a couple of different things you can do, okay? If you're real careful with your glue, you can get a little bit of glue on the end, and you can pick it up on the end of your glue bottle and then stick those ears down onto the mouse, okay? If that's a little tricky for you, you can use the little trick we use at school, which is to put some glue on a tray or a cup and use an old pencil and dip a little glue onto the edge and then pick it up onto the pencil, okay? If there's enough glue to pick that piece of paper up off of the table, then there's enough glue to stick it down, okay? So let's make a few more, okay? And you can decide what shapes you want. I like just the little circles, but with maybe a little bit of flat part at the bottom. So I'm just gonna do this. So the real trick to this, to doing this fast, is to squeeze your scissors and turn the paper at the same time, okay? But it's good cutting skill to have to make good curves, okay? Instead of just cutting around and pushing down every time, just squeeze, and as you squeeze the scissors down, curve the paper around in a circle. Okay, so we got a few more there, and I won't do every one of them for you, but I'll do a few of them so you can see what they look like. Okay, so there's some little ears for that guy. We'll dip a little more, dip, pick it up, stick it down, and we're getting our ears onto our mice. Okay, last thing we're going to do with this pink paper today, and then we'll talk about the snake next time, is we're going to make tails for the mice, okay? The easiest thing to do is to cut a skinny little triangle right off of the paper, and then cut another one, and another one, and another one. Just keep cutting these skinny little slices of triangles off of that pink paper, okay? So look at what your scissors is facing and think about the shape that it's gonna make. And you can cut a whole bunch of little ones. You can do the same thing here. Take a little glue, pick it up on the end of your glue stick, and then stick that tail down onto there. It's okay if the tails overlap on the other mouse if you want them to, or they could be sitting sideways. Okay, just try to make sure that you keep everything inside of the jar. If you have stuff kind of going over the outside of the jar, it doesn't look quite as realistic, although maybe we're not that worried about it. So I'm going to let you finish gluing down all your ears and all your tails, and then in part 2, we'll talk about making the snake for this project. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.